If you're looking for deep insight, scintillating conversation, this is not going to be the episode for you. If you want random babbling from some guy who could possibly be coked out of his gourd, you might want to keep watching. Hi there. My name is Charles Ray Dawson, Associate Broker and Residential Sales Manager for ProStar Realty. This is the Unnamed Real Estate Podcast, episode 170. And this is my second take on that because, I'm almost concerned about how little prep I do. I mean, I don't even try to fix my hair or something. I noticed last week's episode, did I look beat? Did I look beat down like a whipped dog or something? Yeah, that was a week. Let me tell you what. So finally, maybe got that done this morning. I now have a new escrow company I will not work with. That was just absolutely a horrible transaction, like just straight across the board. And it was like everybody made it complicated, except for me. But everybody made that one unfun. Came down, the last thing, fingers crossed that we're done with this now, the last thing that we had going on was escrow decided to mail the check to my client instead of having it couriered out, and then they didn't put the apartment number of the place they sent the check to. And not that the FedEx guy couldn't have gotten to the apartment, because the apartment is in a secured facility. He would have had to gone to the front desk and knocked on, rung a bell or something and had them sign for the document. But the FedEx guy apparently just drove up, looked at the building and went, "Oh, this is an apartment complex," and kept driving because, hey, guess what? I don't have an apartment number. Yeah. And I'm like, all right. And so, of course, same escrow officer who's giving me flack, last Wednesday is like sitting there going, "Well, we weren't notified of, that there was an apartment number." And I'm like, okay, here I go into the emails. All right. One, we wanted you to courier it, which means you take somebody, hand it off to some 20-something-year-old kid, jumps in his car, drives like hell, and delivers it and has somebody sign for it. We checked that box on the instructions, and we gave you the complete address, including the apartment number. So how many more times? So I picked him up this morning. We ran out to the place, walked into that office with a baseball bat. All right. And she was sunshine and jelly beans, because I think what did it is when I started CCing everybody else in that office that had been involved in this transaction, somebody must have come up to her and said, "Hey, Gladys, you screwed the pooch on this one," because she was very conciliatory. So anyways, is it done? We'll see. All right. Right now we're in Bank of America. Funds get held for forever because we don't trust other banks, including ourselves, apparently. So that was... Who in the 21st century still uses a national bank instead of a credit union? All right. If you were a multinational corporation or even a multi-state corporation, even if you're a corporation where you have to have like business expenses, I could see going with one of the big, the big banks. If you're just a random Joe Blow Smuckatelli, why are you using Bank of America, Wells Fargo, any of these other organizations? All right, go check out a credit union. They've changed the rules around. You don't have to be a member of some special category to be a member of most credit unions nowadays. And sometimes you become a member of a credit union just by saying, "Hey, I want to be special." Okay, congratulations, you're in my credit union. All right. I remember the first time somebody told me what a check cashing fee was, and I was like, "What?" All right, I've been with a credit union my entire life. I take check down, I cash it, I walk out the door. No minimum deposits. All right, I don't need to keep $100 in my checking account. I don't get free check services, meaning I can write so many checks before they start charging me for writing checks. We don't play these games out there in the real world. Only people who go to those big banks do. All right. And I'm not worried about my credit union deciding to open up a couple loans in my name, all right, lines of credit in my name, to bumped the numbers out for my third quarter profitability, so everybody in the department gets bonuses. Looking at you, Wells Fargo. All right, yeah, you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. So, little rant aside, this is going to be really scattered out there conversation because, don't have any one major thing to talk about. Got a whole bunch of little things, all right, including little things like getting the numbers out of the way, okay? Because our numbers for May 9th, 2024. Check this out. Actives this week are 17,294, up 204. Remember, we were starting to we had a little bit of slide down. Okay, good rally back. Of that, 2,306 of them were new listings, up 112 from last week. Our contracts were at 2,510, up 12 from last week, which actually makes sense. First week of the month's always slow. Our closings were 1,527. Coming soon to an MLS near you is 692. Now check out our supply and demand, all right? Our supply is at 72.4. Our demand is at 80. And our comfort per number stayed the same at 110.6. No change. What kind of change do we have on our cities and whatnot? I was just rattling these numbers off to somebody earlier today, right? He wanted to know about Goodyear. All right. I told him, hey, Goodyear still right on the bubble of between a buyer's market and a seller's market. But look, you're rising up. Now he's at 89.5. Come next week. All right. 9% growth. Should be good to go on that. But top of the list, of course, is Chandler, Gilbert, Glendale, Avondale. Glendale is up there falling a little bit, but they're still definitely in a seller's market. Rest of the seller market go all the way down until we hit our balanced at Surprise is our only balanced property area out there at 93.0. So low end of balanced. And our buyer's markets are Goodyear, Cave Creek, Queen Creek, Maricopa, and Buckeye. Look at Buckeye up 1% month over month. Look. Are they rallying? Probably not, but good for you, Buckeye. You can do it. Get out of the cellar. So, what's the other stuff I wanted to talk about? All right, I want you to memorize this number right here. Okay, 17,294 active listings in the MLS system, which encompasses Maricopa County and surrounding areas. All right, 17,294. Now I want you to put another number in your head. Okay, and that number in your head is going to be 716. All right, this is what we're going to discuss here. The other night, I'm sitting there doing my wind down issues. And YouTube suddenly decides I need to know about Ireland. All right, so tell me more about Ireland. Why Ireland sucks right now. All right. Now, I knew and had heard that they've been having some pretty nasty riots in Dublin. All right, it's not because of the British this time. It's because of pretty much everybody else but the British. All right. Ireland's got some immigration riots going on, and they're having a large influx of refugees coming from all over the world that their government, through the EU, has decided they're going to accept into Ireland, and they're just moving them into various places in Ireland. A lot of interviews, anecdotal stories. Lady sits there. Oh, okay. So old Irish ladies like to talk. They apparently don't sleep. So this old Irish lady is up, staring out a window. She sees a truck drive by and a bunch of workmen come out. And next thing you know, they start carrying a lot of stuff into a house. She goes, well, that's weird. All right. Next day, a van shows up and a whole bunch of people suddenly move into that house. And they're all immigrants from other countries. They just got put there by the government. Oh, you guys are just going to live in this neighborhood. And of course, the Irish are getting worked up about that. And I think the main reason why the Irish are actually getting worked up about that is because of that magic number 716. All right. 716 is the number of houses for sale in the entire country of Ireland. I don't know if that includes North Ireland or not. All right. Which actually makes, that's an important thing. All right. Do never call them Ireland and North Ireland. Yeah, anyways. All right. But 716 total houses for sale August 1st of 2022. They have a housing crisis. They have a serious housing crisis. They have housing drama going on over there. So take a look at it, and then I ran my own numbers. Okay, from a rental standpoint, okay, just to use some perspective, Ireland has a population of 5.1 million people. All right, 5.1 million people live on that island of Ireland. All right. Phoenix and the metro area that Phoenix encompasses has 4.7 million. Right. So we're 400,000 people less in Phoenix than all of Ireland. And we have, remember the number? 17,000 houses for sale as a population base. What do they have? 716. Now, the original number I saw was like 851. 716 is this one that I could verify, with the whole 5 minutes worth of research I did before this thing. But still, that's a hell of a ratio, right? We think we have listing problems and whatnot. They're talking about some queues being a kilometer long to go get to see a house for sale in Dublin. I mean, that's like around the block and then some. Right? Fortunately, if you're from the British Isles, you know how to queue up. I think it's like endemic to your species or something like that. But still, that's what their problem is. Now, the article I was listening to brought this out. And the main issue is Ireland's a pretty country. Right? Never been there. Everybody talks about how pretty and wonderful it is. It's got these quaint little houses, these quaint little streets, these quaint little buildings. This quaint little island has a lot of frickin' people on there. And they don't allow any building to happen that's going to break the quaint little island. Right? So you're not like here in Maricopa, in Phoenix area, with our 6,849 listings for rent. As of 20 minutes ago when I ran the numbers, 6,849 listings for rent. Houses, apartments, townhomes, whatever it is, right? For the 4.7 million people living in this area, right? They don't get to build these 3-story high, 4-story high apartment complexes because you try to do that. Next thing you know, they have riots about, you're destroying our quaint little village, right? So how are the Irish getting around it? They're doubling up. They're going to, they got a lot of, in the great stuff, there's a dad, there's your ma, there's my older brother, there's my younger brother, and there's our cow, So they're packing in these little houses, which is really bad if you want to go and start a new family, right? Apparently the Irish is okay with making bigger families with a bunch of kids around, all right? But, it's their issue. So 70% of people in Ireland under the age of 30 are looking forward to getting the hell out of Ireland. This could be potentially the biggest diaspora since the famine. Right? Why housing? Why NIMBY? Why I got mine, you don't get yours, because you getting yours is going to spoil my lovely view. So I actually posted something to my Facebook page the other day when I had one person talk to me about it. And it was a guy basically saying, Generation Z, you're screwed, and we're doing it to you. Right? And they asked me, I can't believe you post that. He's completely on the other side of the spectrum politically than you are. And I'm like, yeah, but he's identifying the same problem that I am. Right? These younger generations don't get to buy their first-time house because the people who own their houses, one, they're in a 5-bedroom house that they don't need anymore, but they don't want to sell it, all right? And they don't want that new subdivision going in. All right, so it's not just an Arizona thing. It's not just an America thing. Apparently, this is becoming a global issue. How do we deal with the housing? All right. You guys all know my opinions. You guys all know what I've covered on, how many times I've talked about this. I am more and more amazed at the various politicians saying out there, really honestly saying, well, the reason why housing costs so much is because real estate agents are overcharging you. And there's so many junk fees and junk charges. No, the reason why housing costs so much is because there's not enough of it. And the reason why there's not enough of it is because people are going out of the way to make sure there isn't enough of it. All right? Because they don't want their personal lives impacted, all right, by watching their housing get impacted by more people driving on the street. That lovely mountainside that I like looking to and drinking my coffee every morning suddenly has houses all over it. This is what's holding us up. How are we going to get this fixed? put everybody again over the age of 65 against the wall when revolution comes? Don't know. All right. I would tell you that if you're under the age of, say, like 40 or something like that, do not listen to anybody over the age of 50. All right. Because we got ours. Oh, look at this. Just got a flash. Jumbo loan rates today are 7.125 APR on a 30-year fixed. Like literally, a jumbo loan is above a certain amount, right? Most of the people who watch this podcast will never use a jumbo loan to buy a house. But yeah, there's your rate right now, 7.125. Why are we not interested in lowering rates? We're not interested in lowering rates, right? Because inflation is high. Who gets hurt by inflation? Consumers, because the price of goods and services goes up. Your dollar suddenly does not buy as much. But who really gets hurt by high inflation? Who really gets hurt by high inflation? Retirees. Retirees on a fixed income. Right? Retirees who have sensibly put money into their 401k their entire life, or worked at a job where they earned a pension, right? And now they have fixed income. They really get screwed by inflation. Right? Especially if they took all of their money, as the smart investors did. Right? When they got close to retirement, they got out of the stock side of it and they moved more over into the bonds. Asterisk, Ray is not a financial advisor. This is just stuff that they teach you when you pay attention to the world. Right? You start moving stuff over into the bonds, and now those bonds have fixed return rates. Right? If I have a bond that's paying 7%, sounds pretty good, unless inflation is at 8%. Now I'm screwed. Right? That is why they are very interested in making sure inflation does not go out of control. Other side of this thing, right? Why do people think deflation is more scary than inflation? Deflation is when the costs of goods and services go down. That's bad. Right? Who is that bad for? People who have stuff. Because now your stuff is suddenly worth less. Right? So this is like, if you are an individual with no assets, basically the people who are living paycheck to paycheck, deflation is a beautiful thing for you. Right? You are suddenly getting more food. Maybe you're paying less for food and you can start saving stuff. Who gets hurt by deflation? People who have stuff. Right? Bonds suddenly get really, really awesome. All right? Hey, not only am I getting 7% on this bond, but the prices of everything are going down 2%. We have 2% deflation, so my bond's effectively 9 right now. What happens in that particular situation? People get out of stocks and go as the bonds. What happens when stocks go down? CEOs suddenly don't get bonuses. All right, did not mean to get this into like full-on freaking tinfoil hat conspiracy, but, do I think the rates are going to go down this year? No, I don't, right? Because the inflation's going crazy. All right. Why is inflation going crazy? Because our supply chains are all screwed up. And our supply chains are screwed up. And we have more things in our way to actually produce stuff. All right. And what I mean by being in the way is like, hey, price of oil affects everything. And not just your car, okay? This plastic bottle was made with oil. All right. Well, why aren't you using a stainless steel drinking bottle? All right, yeah, I use a stainless steel drinking bottle, all right? It still required energy to make the stainless steel drinking bottle. It takes energy to make, and petroleum to make the plastic cap for that stainless steel drinking bottle, of which I have 3. All right, but the problem is, I work in an office without water. We have to ship it in little containers. We have little desert Sherpas who bring us water every day, That's the plastic, the computer the phone that you're watching this thing on. Parts of it came pumped out of the ground, right? When the price of petroleum goes up, it's not just the fuel, it's the inputs to make your stuff. Right? That's just one example of the supply chain getting more and more expensive because the cost of petroleum is going up. On the flip side, it's really interesting. Did you guys know that Sweden announced this week that they are building more nuclear reactors and not putting any more money into renewables? Because their Department of Energy said it is of strategic importance for the Swedish people to have reliable energy in the future. Well, that's an interesting. They must have been paying attention in Germany. So, Remember, the nice thing about Germany, you can always serve as a bad example to the other countries. So, and I don't know why I decided to just bag on Germany on like that. But yeah, if you just wanted to say, hey, if there's ever a country you do not want to be, it's like Germany will pretty much tell you how not to do something. All right, so that all being said, on the flip side, you got Japan. They're like, don't touch the boats. And if you guys get that reference, thank you very much. But I really doubt you did. So, what does this mean to you? Me? Interest rates going to be where they're at. Thank God we're not living in Ireland right there. Lovely place to visit, but oh my God, I don't think you want to be living with your dad, your granddad, and everybody else. So, and do they even have swimming pools in Germany? Would they even watch their kids around and pets around pools in Germany? I know the word for children is Kinder. What is Germans probably have a huge word for watching children and pets around pools. It's about a Kundel, Puffen, Wuffen, Laufen, or something like that. So, all right. And as always, okay, don't drive in anything flooded. We're supposed to be having a monsoon season kicking in, but I just saw something last night that says we're not getting one this year. So, but still, no floods. Work your circles as always. Thank you for paying attention to me for 20 minutes and 48 seconds. And I got to figure out what I'm going to do for a teaser line before you see this part. You guys have a great day.